In Israel, coronavirus cases have surged by 50% in the last week, a rise being blamed on the Delta variant. Israel was among the world's first countries to reopen after lockdown. To date, almost two-thirds of Israelis have had their first shot. Now, authorities are calling on young people to come forward to get vaccinated to avoid the return of COVID restrictions.
Adam Goodvach is taking his daughters Leah and Abi to get vaccinated. More and more young Israelis aged 12 to 15 are now getting their jab, like here at this small clinic in Kfar Saba, not least because of the fast-spreading Delta variant and because many have plans for the summer.
I think it's really good. It gives us much more freedom, and it's nice to finally, Corona's over soon, hopefully. And yeah, I think it's important.
It's still not settled because other countries have still not all of the countries have gotten the opportunity to have the vaccines, but hopefully we'll be able to go soon.
The Delta variant has driven infections to levels not seen in Israel since April, mainly among unvaccinated people.
Because we still have a nice amount of people that are not vaccinated. Young people, like you see here, we are increasing of vaccinating them. Young people that can't be vaccinated, and we still see a portion of the elderly people are not still vaccinated for various reasons.
Some vaccinated people also have been infected. For now, the number needing hospital treatment remains low, although figures are rising.
So we do see people who actually acquired the Delta after being immunized, and they can transmit it. Yet their chances to be severely ill, to be hospitalized or to die are slim. So we definitely see a very important role for the immunization.
The new Israeli government is pushing for 12 to 15-year-olds to be inoculated now with the BioNTech-Pfizer vaccine. Prime Minister Naftali Bennett is appealing to young people directly. I know how much you want to enjoy the summer, and you can. I also have 4 kids your age, and they too want to enjoy the summer. We don't want to impose any restrictions on anyone, no bans on parties or trips, no bubbles, nothing. But you need to talk to your parents and get vaccinated so that we have a wonderful summer with no closures and no restrictions. Israel has reimposed an indoor mask mandate and tightened controls at the main international airport. Paul Goodvach is relieved that his teenage daughters are now protected.
It was somewhat of a difficult decision because there are a lot of unknowns, but there are a lot of unknowns in parenting. How long do you give them on their iPad? What time should they go to bed? What food should they eat? What I know is that the vaccine works. Israel had big problems with the pandemic, and since everyone got vaccinated over the age of 16, the problems have all but disappeared.
Further restrictions might be imposed if the Delta variant continues to spread. But for now, Israel aims to get most youngsters over 12 fully vaccinated before some of its doses expire later this month.
For more on this, I'm joined by Professor Eyal Leshem. He's the director of the Centre for Travel Medicine and Tropical Diseases at Sheba Medical Center and joins us now from Tel Aviv. Professor Leshem, thanks very much for your time. So, according to the Israeli Ministry of Health, the effectiveness of the vaccine against infection has dropped significantly in the last month. Why is that?
Well, there is some evidence that the Pfizer vaccine, 2 doses, is slightly less effective in preventing transmission of the Delta variant. And we are probably seeing signs of this with the increase in the number of infections that we are seeing in Israel.
Just the Pfizer vaccine there, then, that's not as effective as getting the Delta variant spread around? Are the other vaccines
Israel
more?
is using exclusively the Pfizer-BioNTech mRNA vaccine, and so the data that comes from Israel points only towards the effectiveness of this vaccine. We know from other countries like the UK that AstraZeneca vaccine, which is also widely used there, is also slightly less effective in preventing transmission and infection.
In your opinion, then, is Israel facing a new wave of the coronavirus?
it is important to separate the number of infections from the actual number of severe cases and of hospitalizations. And while we are seeing thousands of cases, absolutely a wave of infections that occurs right now, we have not seen a substantial increase in the number of severe patients. And even if we do see an increase, so currently we have about 35 to 40 patients who are in the entire country who are hospitalized with severe COVID. Even if this doubles or triples to over 100 patients, this is still very different than what we experienced back in December and January, when we had hundreds of severe cases and hundreds and thousands of people who died of the virus. So we actually think, and have good data to support this, that while the number of infections increases, the vaccine still has an excellent effectiveness against severe disease and hospitalization.
Our report focused a lot on children and how dangerous the Delta variant is for kids and adolescents. We saw Naftali Bennett appealing directly to adolescents to get the vaccine. How big a role do adolescents play in the fight against coronavirus?
We actually know that COVID is not very dangerous to adolescents. We know that some adolescents that recover do suffer from prolonged symptoms and from long COVID, and there are some complicated in multi-system inflammatory. So it is a dangerous virus, but not very dangerous. The key is that the vaccine is very safe in adolescents, and therefore we have enough supply to vaccinate 400,000 or 500,000 adolescents, and we think it will be very safe for them and protect them against acquiring the disease. And therefore, the Israeli government and Ministry of Health is making an attempt through a media communication campaign to encourage these adolescents to go and get vaccinated.
Professor Eyal Leshem from the Center for Travel Medicine and Tropical Diseases at Sheba Medical Center in Israel, thank you very much.
Thank you.